So thank you for having me out. Thank you for the nice introduction. And I promised Gwen I would not make this a sales pitch. This is not about a local company trying to win your business, just sharing with you some of the lessons that we've learned, some of the clients that we're working with, and some of the, it's an amazing space. I have been with Collective Intellect for a year. Collective Intellect has been in business for a little over 3 years, and the trends that we're seeing, the way that customers and the market is responding, are responding to us is really exciting. So I'll take you through some of that. When we started all our conversations were social media, social media, social media. And our belief is that in a few more years, we're not going to even necessarily differentiate between social media and traditional media. It's just going to be the media that we all go to for information. And it will be increasingly online. So at Collective Intellect, we're really focusing on real-time analytics, not just search engine monitoring or search engine tracking type of technology, but really trying to extract meaningful insights from that. What do people think and feel about the topic that we're looking for? So I'm going to talk a little bit about social media marketing, the opportunities and challenges there. I'll skip through that pretty quickly because Gwen's more the expert on that. And then listening, talking about more going beyond just brand monitoring, and then how to listen and some real-world case studies from our client base. So the statistics that keep us in business is the general shift to online activity. The reason we're all sitting here trying to understand it better, trying to apply it in our own world, trying to understand it. The 25% of households that stopped watching TV commercials is astounding. I mean, in our lifetime, that's a huge shift in behavior. Pretty much, David Armano made a joke around the Super Bowl. He's like, oh, it's a time warp. We all get to go back and watch TV commercials again. So there's really been a big shift. We're not getting our information the same traditional way. Then looking at the demographic shift. The really young people have already beat us to the punch. They're already living and breathing in the online world, and the rest of us are catching up as quickly as we can. So the general shift, and then I think the business one's really interesting because even a year ago, that number, when you talk directly to business people, they're like, yeah, we're thinking about social media. We really want to do something. But this year, when you talk to people, budgets are already set. People are planning on doing things. People have more concrete plans in place, metrics that they're using. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal about a month ago, I think. 2 months ago now, in January. And it was based on a research study that the author did. 92% of the respondents said that they refer to their online research to make their decisions instead of either company information or TV commercials. So the online world and the information found therein is so critical to the way people are making their decisions. So marketers, brand people, companies are trying to really figure out how to shift away from spoon feeding to engaging with the customers. Business Week had an article back in January as well, which is probably why we had a really good quarter, all this public press around the industry, talking about the online world being the new focus group. So even instead of traditional market research projects, or instead of relying on a lot of the traditional kind of Nielsen metrics that come through set-top boxes, the idea that there's this huge conversation going on, and by tapping into it and listening to it effectively, you can really understand what your consumers think and feel, how they're going to behave, what they're looking for, and how they're responding to your brand and your marketing messages. Some of the challenges in the space is noise. When you talk about that many people in the world being online, that many people participating in social networking sites, the millions and millions on Google every day, when you talk about the activity on Twitter every day that's been increasing so rapidly in the last several months especially, but really in the last year. When you look at all of that, there's so much noise. So what do you do with that information? How do you even begin to make sense of it? You just pull out 1 or 2 comments and hope that you're getting a good snapshot of what customers are saying or what people think. So there is an overwhelming amount of data. And if you're a small business and trying to understand, you can imagine how that is compounded when you are a big corporate brand. So how to separate good data from useless data is the other big challenge. In addition just to the sheer volume is the splog and the spam and the garbage that's out there. It's a real challenge in terms of getting to the actual nuggets of information. And then who's influential? If I read 30,000 posts online about health or about my product or some topic that I'm interested in, how do I know which voices in there are really important and which ones are just another person like me who has an opinion? And then findability. Where do I go to find the information? And if I'm going here, if I'm going to a blog for information, what trail does that take me along? Findability is really big. You know, search engines are our go-to method right now for finding information. I'm interested in learning about a healthcare issue. I go and I type it into Google or into Yahoo or my preferred search engine, and search results come up. But more and more, as people go to the sources of information that they hear about or that they're interested in, they say, this is taking me down a path of links. So instead of going through Google's preferred list of search engine results, I'm ending up clicking on this link, which takes me to another blog, and this link, which takes me to another blog, and this link, which takes me to another blog. And without ever returning to a search engine, I've navigated through this path of content on the web. So how do you get found in there, the findability of your content? The coordination of action and ownership across the business, I think, ties into your workflow. Whether you're a small business or a big business, where do I start? What do I do with this information once I have it? How do I act on it? Who within my organization needs to care about this? Is this a customer service issue? Is this a corporate communications issue? Is this a brand manager issue? And then looking at topics and trends. So how do I synthesize it all into something interesting? And then the big challenge in general in social media, I think, is tactical versus strategic, which goes back to creating a plan. You know, a year ago when I started, everybody's like, yes, we have a plan. We're creating a Facebook profile for our company, and we're going to do something with the widget. We don't know exactly what, but we're doing something. And everybody had that same plan. You're like, okay, that's great. So how are you going to track that? How are you going to understand if consumers are connecting with that? So we're starting to move more towards a strategic line of thought. How do I really engage? Who are my customers? Where are they talking? What are they talking about? And then how do I participate with them? And then if it's that hard to track yourself, imagine how hard it is to then track your big top 5 competitors.